This video is going to discuss the key factors to proper cable adjustment and how to get the cables adjusted to be optimal for your horse. At no time during the trimming cycle of your horse should it ever be difficult to pull the captivator up over the heel bulbs of the horse. If it is ever difficult to pull the captivator up over the heel bulbs, or if the liner is being folded or rolled when pulling the captivator up, then the cables are too short. Cables that are too short not only make installing boots difficult, but it can also lead to breaking cables. The best time to make cable adjustments is after a recent trim for getting your cables adjusted to be optimal, and hopefully it won't require it to be done again. I am going to be using the amount or length of cable showing from the front of the cable guideway to the back of the cable adapter. After a recent trim, there should be at minimum or no less than 3/4 of an inch or 19 millimeters of cable showing from the front of the cable guideway to the back of the cable adapter. Having 1 inch or 26 millimeters would be the maximum or greatest amount of cable showing from the cable guideways to the back of the adapter. As the hooves grow through the trimming cycle, the amount of cable shown will decrease. This is why using the maximum to minimum cable shown isn't a specific standard, as hoof situations vary in many ways. However, for almost all hoof circumstances, once you get the cables in your hoof boots to be optimal for your horse, it shouldn't require them to be adjusted again. At the very end of your trim cycle, never should there be less than 1/2 or 13 millimeters of cable showing between cable guideways and the back of the cable adapter. These are guides, not a standard, and on boot sizes 2WW or 140 by 140 and larger, these guidelines should be increased both on the minimum and maximum. This meaning instead of having a minimum of a 1/2 inch at the end of the trim cycle, 3/4 of an inch is likely a better situation. And on the maximum of 1 inch on a recent trim, 1 1/4 inches would also be fine. This again is just a guide, and the reason being for increasing the amount of cable shown is that often horses with larger feet tend to need the extra cable for allowing the captivator to always be pulled up without issue.